Hello, I'm going to open up an AMPEX style 8-track cartridge. The AMPEX tape cartridges are known for their gooey pinch rollers, and this is no exception to that. And several of these pinch rollers can either be very wide or very narrow, and this one tends to be one of the narrower sides. This is going to be the first in the series on the AMPEX. This video is just going to be on how to open and close the tape. The other videos are going to be on how to actually replace the gooey pinch roller without actually having to find a new roller. I will show you how you can actually take the existing hub and put a new roller on top of it. But first, let's open these up. The AMPEX tape has 5 holes, and basically the opposite side, the top half, has a post which fits into the lower half, which is kind of the socket for these. 4 of these, use a 3/16 inch screw thread. The last one uses a 1/8 inch screw. The last one is up here on top of the pinch roller. What you need to do is you need to find a screw or a bolt like this. I happen to have one that has a hex head. And the bottom you need to file off, because otherwise there's a point, and instead of pushing on the post, these will actually end up putting a hole through the post. So get yourself a file and file that down. Then you take some Vaseline, petroleum jelly, and you take the screw thread and you just coat the sides of it a little bit. And start working on the 4 3/16 holes first, and if you need to do the 1/8 inch one, have that screw ready. Sometimes you can put your screwdriver and pry over the pinch roller to separate it, but most of the time that does break. So let's start with the first one. Here's my socket set, and I'll usually start at the label end first. Put the bolt into the hole, take your socket set, and just simply start turning. And you will notice that the threaded bolt will go down into the tape. Incidentally, if you do have any label that crosses the seam, you need to cut that first. As you can see, the bolt is going down, and you'll notice that the tape half starts to separate now. See? It's coming apart. And go down about an 1/8 of an inch or so. Believe me, if you don't go down far enough, it can still get stuck when you try to separate them. Now, reverse the screwing process and remove the bolt. Okay? And get yourself a little more Vaseline to put on the thread, and go to the next one. Do the same thing. Again, I've just hit the edge of the post, and now you'll see it start to separate. See? Okay, and back out, turn it counterclockwise, and this bolt will come out. Okay, and again, coat with the Vaseline, and now we'll do the center post. These are the most difficult to open compared to several of the other cartridges. And again, screw it down, stop, and reverse. Okay, now what I generally try to do before I go to the fourth bolt is I'll try to use my Swiss Army knife blade screwdriver and see if I can perhaps pry this one up. Usually it will not work. These tend to perhaps be the ones that are most prone to popping open, but this one's going to be stubborn. So again, I will need to use the bolt, coat it again, and start to screw it in. Okay. Try to pry it open. There. Generally this post comes apart pretty easily, but for some reason this tape did not, and it did require the screw to be screwed in to open it up. Now I'm going to try again with the pinch roller capstan to try and pry it with a screwdriver, but unfortunately I think it's probably going to break. Yep, I don't want a chance breaking it. So now we take the 1/8 inch screw. Now unfortunately this doesn't have a bolt head or a hex head, so I have to use a regular screwdriver and put it in the hole. I have a screwdriver here and start screwing. Unfortunately sometimes the screw can split the capstan shaft inside. If that does occur, just take some super glue and try to glue the crack in the shaft and use a clamp to hold it together, and that should hold it back together again. So as you can see, I'm screwing down the screw head into the capstan shaft pin holders. And it will be pushing up onto the top half of the post, hopefully pretty soon. There we go. You can hear it crack. Hopefully that was the post and not the capstan, but we'll find out. Okay, looks like it's separated now. That's about as far down as I want to go. Then remove the screw as such. I'm sure the AMPEX manufacturers had a device that would easily remove these cartridge half shells without using a screwdriver, but unfortunately I don't have one of those devices. So now unscrew it, and it should be pliable right now to open up, and there it is. It's popped open. Now you just kind of have to work it around again, and there's the top. The top has been removed. Here's the tape. This tape actually has been inverted, and you may find this sometimes. You can tell by the fact that this is the lubricant shiny side versus the playing side. What that requires is, as you can see right here, okay, this is where it became inverted. What you need to do is unravel this all the way to that spot. You can get yourself an iron, and you must use low heat, a low heat iron. When you get to the part where it's wrinkled over, stretch out the tape and take the tip part of the iron and iron from the lubricant side back and forth very briskly. Don't hold it in one place too long or you'll melt it, and certainly don't pull on the tape because you'll stretch it. So that will be done when I come back and I take to the second part where I'm going to show how to replace this, the gooey capstan. Unfortunately, as you can see, there is a crack here where the capstan is post. So what I'm going to do is just take some super glue. Okay. And I will separate this a little bit to get some glue in there. And I like to kind of super glue with a brush because the brush can actually get into the fibers. And you go like this. And over here too. And just try and get it inside there. Okay. Wipe off the excess, because generally super glue goes better when there's less of it. And then I take one of these binder clips, one of these, and I'll use that to hold the clip together. And this will sit for a while, and while this is drying I'll work on removing and rejuvenating the capstan rubber wheel. And so we'll go on to part 2 after this.